Who are you and what do you want? This is the topic that comes up so often. Why are we so confused about who we are and what we actually want? I'm going to dive into this and show you how to find the way. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please click the little subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much and welcome back. Let's dive in. I'm Candace Dell. I've been working as a spiritual coach and mentor for the last 12 years. I have many online courses. I should mention, from now until Mother's Day, all my courses are 30% off. Just put in the code MOM30 and you can enjoy that up until Mother's Day. Other than that, I have my monthly membership and I do one-on-one coaching as well as business mentorship. So anyway, let's get into the topic today. Identity. Uncertain identity. There is not a possibility in the world for you to have a secure, anchored sense of self from an authentic place if you did not have an amazing, unconditionally loving, emotional mirror consistently as a child. So what does that leave us with? The majority of the population who have an uncertain identity on some level, or think they have an identity or a sense of worth because they anchor it to external things, opinions, and measures due to society, based on society standards. So I'm coming off of a day full of clients who, this is what I love my work. If you're called to my work, it's because you're part of this collective consciousness. But this week, every session, and it's actually only Wednesday, but I'm taking tomorrow off because I have to travel. So this is a whole week for me. This week, the energy has been all about anchoring in an unconditional sense of self-worth, what makes me happy, knowing who I am, having that unbreakable, unshakable sense of confidence. This cannot be if we were born in a home that had conditional love in any way, if we had parents that were maybe narcissistic, who were very obsessed with societal norms and ideals, or just people who had not done any inner work and were totally fine with their identity the way that it was, even if it wasn't fully fulfilled. So this is a lot of people in the world. I personally, when I was growing up, I obviously got part of my identity stripped from me at age 7 when I was labeled ADHD, given a drug, told there's something wrong with you, right? We grow up with that feeling of there's something wrong with me. So I grew up thinking, why am I different? What's wrong with me? Well, what I found out later in life is society created these things. God doesn't make mistakes. The universe doesn't make mistakes. So what I discovered through my journey of self-awareness and self-mastery is that all the things that are different are here to make a difference in society. But if we are addicted to making society our false idol, we're never going to scratch the surface of our true authentic empowerment. Right now, I'm writing this book and I'm doing this amazing interview next month with the man who created Indigo Children. But I'm doing all this work to launch the idea that you were born perfect for your purpose, but you won't find that in society. You might find aspects of it. But when we have to put part of ourselves in our shadow, when we have to abandon parts of ourselves to fit in, what's happening is we're trying to maintain an external ideal so that we can get the feedback that we're worthy. Because deep inside each one of us, whether you were bullied in school because you looked different, you were fat, you were too skinny, you were a different color, like whatever the hell the reason was that you started thinking there might be something wrong with me or there might be something not measuring up with me, that's all a lie. It's all societal based. But if that is your truth, if that's what not your truth, if that's what you grew up believing is there might be something wrong, then you are constantly trying to insulate your life with external identifications, meaning this guy likes me, I'm worthy. This career is happening for me. There's not something wrong with me. When my life is working, there's not something wrong with me. If something goes wrong in my life, I have to feel that feeling of something being wrong with me. So I have to high achieve, or I have to be afraid of failure, or I have to deny parts of myself and pretend I'm this image. Whatever it is, I have to be perfect. We are constantly trying to get the evidence from our external mirror that we are okay, there's nothing wrong with us, we're enough. And what I want to tell you about that is if there's a part of you internally that feels that you might be, something might be wrong with you, you might not be enough, something might be wrong or not okay or different, that is the energy you are attracting. So nothing outside of you will ever be secure in that message. You will have ups and you will have downs. because the universe is made up of nothing but holograms. Everything is a mirror. So when my clients come to me and they say, but Candace, I grew up with this kind of family and then I kept recreating that, I say, yes, and you're still not sure if there's something really wrong with you or not, correct? And they'll say deep down, yeah, even though they're super successful or they have the love of their life, they think whatever it is, there will be some reason they're still not totally sure. If these external things went away, they wouldn't know. So they have to do whatever they have to do to compromise themselves to keep that external, evidence that I am okay. So people are so afraid of their conditions and their circumstances. So the thing is this, you're constantly trying to do things to keep it in place that you are good. You are working out. There's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do anything wrong. This is why people have issues with mistakes. This is why people have issues with apologizing, because God forbid someone thinks you did something wrong, that will reinstate the message there's something wrong with me, and then I will die into this hole of oblivion with negative emotion. So, to know who you truly are is to actually have the courage and the bravery to face the darkest, deepest, most intimate parts of yourself that say, there might be something wrong with me. You have to sit there and say, so what if there is? I've still accomplished these things. I still have loving friends. I still am healthy. Whatever it is, look at what you've accomplished. The problem with people who grow up in these homes who think there might be something wrong with them or not enough about them or whatever is we're constantly doing these things, achieving these things, and not feeling as if it's our achievement because we're just trying to make up for the maybe possibility that there's something wrong with us. So this is just to make up for it. I remember when I was young and I thought there was something wrong with me, and I started my modeling career in high school. And I remember thinking, well, I have to be perfect and the best to make up for the things that are wrong with me. Do you know how amazing it was for my life when I realized there's nothing freaking wrong? In fact, what they would call ADHD was my gift for my work. Attention dialed to a higher dimension. I tune into things that no one around me could tune into. And I had to put that in the shadow for a while so I wasn't weird or different. But now I'm like, damn, bring it on. That is my gift. That is where I get to tune in, tap in, turn on my channeling. So that's why I always say you were born perfect for your purpose. I didn't find being a spiritual teacher in society. I had to lift up past societal's ideals and look for a true God, not a false idol. And that's when I found my true self. And that's what I'm here to help you do. So you're not going to know who you are, what you want, or what will make you feel satisfied and fulfilled if you're still trying to insulate your life with things that make you look like you're good. There's nothing wrong with you. You're doing it right. But right according to who? Enough according to what? What measure and standard are you doing? I have a client that went to one of the top Ivy League schools. Is there a top Ivy? Went to an Ivy League school, became a huge corporate lawyer, had a relationship, and was miserable. Because the reason she did these things is to ensure that there's nothing wrong with herself. If I get this, go to this school, I'll know that I'm good. If I get this job, I'll know there's nothing wrong. But as soon as anything does go wrong, you're going to feel that pit, that emptiness, that I call it soul starving, because it's an external thing that you never anchored. You're depending on undependable things, which are conditions, because conditions will always change. And then here you are again wondering, where's my identity? I was telling one of my clients earlier this week that you will lose yourself when you lose a man because you've put your worth and your identity in him liking you. So when he's gone and doesn't like you, you think you're going to be able to be okay, but your whole freaking positive identity is in that guy's opinion. Do you see how dangerous that is? Finding who we are is saying, screw society, screw any kind of standards and measure. What if there is something wrong with me according to society or just in general? I love myself anyway. Can you do that? I walk you through that in my emotional rehab course. 30% off. If you want to do a course to start this deep work of identifying and anchoring your truth inside yourself, do emotional rehab. If you've already done it, do shadow work. If you've already done it, do I Am Worthy. That is the way to do the courses, to anchor in the steps in the structured healing approach that I went through and created based on my own experiences and those of 12 years of coaching others. So one of my clients said to me, well, yeah, but like, what if I lose my job? And then I'm like, yeah, okay. So what you have to understand is you're the one that got the job. You're the one that's going to get another job, right? So this is what's so confusing to people. We're confused because we've never been taught how to be unconditionally in love with ourselves or our lives. We've been taught that that's stuck up or that's narcissistic. No, it's the opposite. Narcissism is false confidence and not loving yourself, but needing supply to show you that you're lovable on a consistent basis. This is in reverse. So again, my client says to me, well, what if I find out? So she's afraid of herself. That's her biggest thing. And we've been working together for a couple of years, and we've gotten through so much of the trauma to finally be able to face this part, right? It takes time. And so now we're facing it, and she's like deathly afraid of the deepest part of herself because she's afraid of what she'll find. She's afraid of how it'll make you feel. The thing about your feelings is you're busy blaming yourself for your negative emotions. Like there's something wrong with me that make me have this negative feeling. Incorrect. The thing that's wrong with you that makes you experience these deep negative emotions is that you think there's something wrong with you and then you continue that vibration. So I'm here to help you break it. So step one in emotional rehab, right? We have to understand our ideal versus our real self. So what I told her is, great, be courageous, do it with me. I do inners with people. I said, bring forward the part of you you think is scary and say to yourself, so what if there is something wrong with me? Great. Then I don't have to keep ruining my life by having to have these conditions match the mirror I need because I just know that I'm fine with it. Take that in. If I'm fine with the fact that there might be something wrong with me, okay, so my client asked me, she says, yeah, but what about narcissists and serial killers? I go, yeah, you want to know what's wrong with them? They grew up thinking there was something wrong with them and this is how they're acting it out. And she goes, whoa. And so she kept giving me all these different scenarios. It always goes back to the same thing. There was a huge eruption in your authentic self as a child. And you continued that pattern down a bad path of believing it. And it kept getting worse and worse and worse because your actions were creating more circumstances that were validating that negative lie about you. A narcissist is nothing more than someone who had to annihilate their true self because it was rejected and not loved and not accepted in their home. That's the truth. It is deep emotional trauma. Yeah, they can still function in the world and make millions of dollars and have, trophy wives and whatever it is that they do. But they're going to be acting out because none of that will ever be enough. The signpost will move because it's not about being filled from outside. We get a hit because we're like, oh, everyone will think I'm this. Yay. And that lasts 2 seconds until you realize I'm not fulfilled in my heart. When I walk around in my day and I'm just happy because I'm connected to my purpose and I get to connect deep, deep, deep with myself and others all day long, that's my identity. That is who I am. That is what I'm here to do in the world because it's the same. Who I am and what I do, thankfully, luckily, is the same for me. So because of that, anything else that happens or doesn't happen gets to be extra. It's almost like when you're making X amount of money per month because that's just your salary and then anything else is extra. Whereas for other people, when they don't have that constant salary, which, I don't either. I'm an entrepreneur, but it's been very consistent. The last 8 years, I've gotten the same damn amount, right? Or more, and then that'll be consistent. And so that's your vibrational work. That's a different topic. But it's like if you don't have that base pay and you're just waiting for the extra. That's how it feels to not be anchored in your identity. That's how it feels to not be anchored to your authentic self. That's how it feels to not have a secure attachment to self. Again, emotional rehab is a program to start anchoring this now. So how to find what I am is be willing to let go of anything and everything that you feel attached to that defines you, or the evidence that you constantly seek for. Oh my gosh, I had bad evidence. Somebody doesn't like me. Okay, so I'm not enough. So what I have done to help you understand too, this is very, very important piece that I brought up today to one of my clients and she was like, whoa. If somebody has an uncertain identity, which is everyone I'm talking about in this example, you are less threatened by negative evidence, negative things happening, than nothing happening. Because you need to anchor your identity to something. Okay, if I know I'm this bad, at least I have a self. Take that in. That is true. But what you're trying to do your whole life is change yourself, contort yourself, manipulate things, people please, all the things to get a positive mirror. Stop doing that. Stop doing that because and I know those positive mirrors don't anchor anything for you. You depend on them and they're very undependable. So this is the thing. You have to be willing to go to the deep, dark places, the negative emotions. You have to be willing to let go of anything that you're attached to. Oh, I need that house so it makes me feel like I'm enough. Let the house go. In 2018, my Malibu house burned down. Okay, I had to move to a different state for a while. I got a divorce eventually, and my dog died all at the same time, and I moved to another state where I had no support, nothing. All of those externals fell away, and you know what I realized during that year? I was totally self-anchored. I was showing up for clients still from the hotel room that I had to stay in, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I truly understand that my worth, my identity, everything that I am comes from within. I'll rebuild. I'll figure it out. That was the practice for me. That was really like the universe being like, here, let's see if you've arrived. Let's see if your words have integrity. Oh, they do. You're actually doing the thing you talk about. So that's why I'm like, I don't care where I live or what. All I care about is me being as deep as I can be, as connected to myself as I can be, and as connected to others authentically as possible. I'm very transparent, and there's literally nothing about myself that's different on screen or in a group than it is in my daily life. So transparency and authenticity are everything, right? In our daily life, when we can be super authentic and super transparent, we know who we are because we're constantly getting mirrored for our truth, not what we think our truth needs to be enough. Take that in. So here's the thing is when we get to do our shadow work and say, maybe there is something wrong with me. When I started doing my deep inner child work and I was like, I don't know, there might be something wrong with me. This is what they say. It was so amazing to find out that nothing I was afraid of could possibly be was ever going to be true. The truth, like the feedback I got was, what? You're so funny. You're so amazing. Why would you think there's something wrong with you? Yeah, because it was just a crazy idea. It wasn't actually true. My 7-year-old self who got the label of ADHD walked around for far too long thinking, this is something I can't tell anyone. I have to make up for it. I have to be better at everything else. That's such bullshit. If I would have known then what I know I've created now at 46 years old, well, actually I started creating this at 30 years old. If I would have known, if my 15-year-old self who is still struggling to figure out which one am I the good version or am I the, right? If she saw what I created at 30 years old, even up till that point, she would have never thought a single day in her life that there's any need to hold back, that there's any need to be afraid of shine, that there's any need to hold back a thought, a feeling, none of that. Be free. There's nothing wrong with you. That's my message for you today. So what are you going to do? You're going to detach from the things you're attached to. Ask yourself why you're so attached. What is that, right? You're also going to start to ask yourself the question, what if my deepest, darkest fear is true? What you'll find out is it's not. But because you're so afraid to look at it, you keep it over there in the shadow, and then you're so afraid that it could be true that you live your life in a way to never have to find out. You need to find out. You need to find out that there is nothing wrong with you, nothing dark and gnarly about you. You can change behavior. You can change genetics at this point, right? You can change so many things about you. It starts with your thoughts and your emotions. And this is what I'll say is, if you were born with some condition that you can't change, guess what? The way that that'll become better is how you relate to the issue, because that's the issue. Okay, guys, don't forget to check out courses for the next week. They're 30% off, code MOM30. I love you guys. Oh, also I have to mention, so I have I'm offering one more coaching spot. So I just graduated a client. So I have one more space for my Get More Access package, my business mentorship, and also just a one-to-one. I have a certain amount of clients I allow in every month, so I have a new space open. If one of you is wanting to work with me, please send me an email, check out my website, send me a message from there if it's easier. Please share this podcast or this YouTube episode with at least one person you think it could help. I love you guys, and I'll see you very soon.